Now at 5, IMPD is investigating a shooting that left a mother dead on the south side.
CBS 4's Jesse Wells spoke with the victim's family today and explains what they think motivated that murder.
November 24th, 2025. 9 hours. That's all the time that stood between a police call and a murder. 9 hours before 26-year-old Amanda Sheree Jones would be found with multiple gunshot wounds in her own apartment. 9 hours before her 2-year-old daughter would lose her mother forever. And girl, here's the part that'll make your blood run cold. Amanda saw this coming. She told the police herself, straight up, "You're not going to do something until someone is dead." She knew. The system knew. Her family knew. But nobody could stop what was about to happen that Monday night in Indianapolis. In every home, behind every closed door, there's a story waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to Dark Whispers, where we dive deep into the hidden truths of domestic crime and the relationships that turn deadly. If you're drawn to real stories, powerful insights, and the shadows most people avoid, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and step into the whispers they never wanted you to hear. Amanda Sheree Jones was 26 years old, a mother, a daughter, a cousin who her family loved deeply. To those who knew her best, especially her cousin Danae, Amanda was more than just family. She was like a sister, an everyday friend, someone whose presence mattered in their daily lives. But listen, Amanda was living in a situation that terrified the people who loved her most. She was in a relationship that those closest to her recognized as dangerous, and they had been warning her for what seemed like forever. Danae would later tell reporters that she warned Amanda over and over, "That relationship's not good for you. You've got to leave." Now, think about what that means for a moment. Imagine watching someone you love, someone you consider a sister, stay in a situation that you know deep in your bones could hurt them or worse. Imagine the helplessness of warning them, pleading with them, and still watching them stay. That's where Amanda's family found themselves. Not because Amanda was weak or foolish, but because leaving an abusive relationship is one of the most dangerous and complicated things a person can do. And tragically, Amanda would never get the chance to fully break free. Amanda lived in the 700 block of Turtle Creek North Drive in the Brookwood Apartments near Thompson Road and U.S. Route 31 on Indianapolis's south side. It's a working-class neighborhood, the kind of place where people are just trying to get by, raise their kids, and live their lives. But Amanda's address had become all too familiar to Indianapolis Metropolitan Police officers. The calls had been coming in for a while. Reports of harassment, domestic disturbances, violations of protection orders. Each call was a red flag. Each report was a warning sign. Each time officers responded, they were documenting a pattern of escalating danger. And here's the detail that should haunt everyone who learns about this case. Less than 9 hours before Amanda Sheree Jones was found shot to death in her apartment, police had been called to that same address. 9 hours. Not 9 days, not 9 weeks. 9 hours separated a police response from Amanda's murder. What happened in those 9 hours? What was said? What was done? What opportunities were missed? These are the questions that investigators, family members, and advocates are still grappling with, because those 9 hours represent a window, a moment when intervention might have saved a life. Court records tell us even more about the dangerous situation Amanda was trapped in. At some point before her death, someone presumably connected to the relationship that concerned her family was charged with felony intimidation. That's not a minor charge, okay? Felony intimidation means someone threatened Amanda in a way that was serious enough to warrant criminal prosecution. A protection order was put in place, a legal barrier meant to keep Amanda safe. But here's what happened next. Those charges were dismissed. The case that was supposed to protect Amanda, that was supposed to hold someone accountable for threatening her, simply went away. Like, make it make sense. Why were those charges dismissed? What led to that decision? Did Amanda ask for them to be dropped, perhaps under pressure or out of hope that things would get better? Did prosecutors lack sufficient evidence? Did the system fail to prioritize her safety? We don't know the full story, but we know the result. The legal protection that was supposed to shield Amanda ultimately didn't save her. Police reports show that Amanda repeatedly called police throughout 2025 to report domestic disturbances, harassment, and even a protective order violation. She was doing everything she was supposed to do. She was reaching out. She was trying to use the system to protect herself. And her cousin Dania? She was right there with her through some of those calls. Dania said she was actually on the phone with Amanda during one of those previous police calls, and she heard Amanda tell the officers directly, "You're not going to do something until someone is dead." Let those words sink in. Amanda predicted her own fate. She told law enforcement in plain language that she didn't believe they would truly intervene until it was too late. And tragically, devastatingly, she was right. Dania described Amanda as more than a cousin, as an everyday person, an everyday friend. Losing her, she said, felt like losing a sister, and she expressed the frustration and guilt that so many family members of domestic violence victims feel, the sense that maybe if she'd said the right thing, done the right thing, pushed harder, Amanda would still be alive. But the truth is, Dania did warn Amanda repeatedly. She told her the relationship wasn't good. She begged her to leave, and Amanda knew the danger she was in. She was reaching out to police, filing charges, seeking protection orders. The failure here wasn't on Amanda or her family. The failure was systemic. November 24th, 2025. It was a Monday night, late, approaching midnight. Most people in the Brookwood apartments were winding down their evenings, maybe watching TV, maybe already asleep. And then, at approximately 11:54 at night, the sound of gunshots shattered the quiet. Multiple gunshots. The kind of sound that makes your heart stop. That makes you freeze and wonder if you really heard what you think you heard. Neighbors called 911. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police officers responded immediately, rushing to the 700 block of Turtle Creek North Drive. When they got to Amanda's apartment, what they saw told a violent story before they even stepped inside. 7 bullet holes. 7. Piercing through that metal front door. Like 7 bullets went through that door, and inside, Amanda Sheree Jones was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. First responders did what they could, but it was too late. Amanda was pronounced dead at the scene. She was 26 years old, and her life was over. Just like that. In her own home. In the place where she should have been safe. But there was someone else in that apartment. Amanda's 2-year-old daughter was there. A toddler, not even old enough to fully comprehend what was happening, was present while her mother was shot and killed. The child was physically unharmed. Thank God for that small mercy. But girl, what about the psychological impact? What about the trauma that this little girl will carry with her? She's too young to remember the details, maybe, but trauma lives in the body, even when memory fails. The Indiana Department of Child Services was contacted immediately and took custody of the child. That little girl will now grow up without her mother, and that's a loss that can never be repaired. No amount of time, no amount of love from other family members can bring Amanda back. This baby lost her mother to violence, and that's something she'll carry for the rest of her life.
Police are still investigating exactly what led to the deadly shooting here at this apartment, which, as you can see, left the front door riddled with bullet holes. At the same time, police reports confirm officers were called to this exact address multiple times in the days and weeks leading up to the shooting. This front door is sealed shut with a total of 7 bullet holes piercing the metal. Inside that apartment, police found 26-year-old Amanda Sheree Jones shot to death.
I feel like I lost a sister. I feel like I lost my everyday person, my everyday friend.
The fatal shooting took place 6 minutes before midnight. Police say the victim's 2-year-old daughter was home at the time of the killing, but fortunately that child wasn't hurt.
It's just really sad that now this child doesn't have a mother.
While police would not confirm a motive, the victim's family believes the killing was domestic related. Police reports show Jones repeatedly called police this year to report domestic disturbances, harassment, and even a protective order violation. In one case, a felony intimidation charge was filed and a no-contact order was issued before those charges were dropped a few months later.
She did multiple police reports. I was on the phone actually numerous times, and she told the police, "You're not gonna do something till somebody's dead." I heard her tell him that.
It was like she was trying to get away from him, but he kept finding his way back.
That neighbor says home surveillance video in the building showed 2 men fleeing from the apartment after the shooting.
They were running and then saying that they had to go. It was like, we can't be here. We gotta go.
Police did confirm 2 people were detained and questioned, but both were later released. Detectives are still searching for suspects. Amanda's cousin just hopes anyone who's the victim of domestic violence learns from the tragedy.
My message would be, don't wait till it's too late. When you see the signs, get away from it early. I told my cousin that. I told her over and over.
Finally, because no arrests have yet been made, as always, anyone with information on the homicide here can still contact either IMPD's homicide office or Crime Stoppers. Jesse Wells, CBS 4 News.
CBS 4 is your weather authority. More than one.
At the scene that night, police detained 2 individuals as persons of interest. 2 people were right there, present when officers arrived, and investigators immediately began questioning them about what had happened. Who were these people? What was their relationship to Amanda? What did they know about what had occurred in those final moments? For a moment, it seemed like answers might come quickly, like justice might be swift. But then, both individuals were released. No arrests were made that night. And as of now, we're several days past Amanda's death, and no one has been formally charged in connection with her murder. The case remains open. The investigation continues. But for Amanda's family, for her daughter, for everyone who loved her, there's no closure. There's no justice yet. Just questions, grief, and the agonizing wait for answers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. A neighbor in the building said that home surveillance video showed 2 men fleeing from the apartment after the shooting. They were running and saying, "We gotta go, we gotta go." Like, they were caught on camera rushing out of there, clearly in a panic, clearly trying to get away from the scene. But hey, even with that footage, even with 2 people detained and questioned, no arrests have been made. Detective Michael Denson from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department's Homicide Office is leading the investigation. Detectives are working to build their case, interviewing witnesses, reviewing evidence, trying to piece together exactly what happened in Amanda's apartment that night and who is responsible. But they need help. They need the community to come forward with information. Someone out there knows something. Someone saw something. Someone heard something. And that information could be the key to bringing justice for Amanda. But let's zoom out for a moment, because Amanda's story isn't just about one terrible night. It's about a pattern. It's about a system that had multiple opportunities to intervene and didn't do enough. Think about the timeline here. Police were called to Amanda's address multiple times. Harassment, domestic disturbances, protection order violations. Felony intimidation charges were filed. Amanda reached out for help. She engaged with the legal system. She tried to use the tools that are supposed to protect people in dangerous situations. And yet, those charges were dismissed. The protection order didn't ultimately protect her. And less than 9 hours after police responded to yet another call at her address, Amanda was dead. 9 hours. That's the window we're talking about. That's how close intervention was to her murder. And that should shake everybody who hears this story, because if the system couldn't protect Amanda with all those warning signs, with all those police reports, with all those calls for help, then who can it protect? As of right now, there have been no arrests in Amanda Sheree Jones's murder. The investigation is active, but no one has been charged. No one has been held accountable. The 2 people who were detained and questioned that night were released, and the case remains open. Detective Michael Denson is still working to build a case, still trying to get the evidence needed to bring charges. But for Amanda's family, every day without an arrest is another day without justice. Every day is another reminder that the person or people responsible for taking Amanda's life are still out there. The community is being urged to come forward. If you know anything about what happened that night, if you saw something, heard something, or have any information at all, you can contact Detective Michael Denson at the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department's Homicide Office, or reach out to Crime Stoppers anonymously. Your information, no matter how small it might seem, could be the piece that finally brings justice for Amanda and her daughter. Amanda Sheree Jones was 26 years old. She was a mother to a 2-year-old girl who will now grow up without her. She was a beloved cousin, daughter, and friend. She tried to protect herself. She reached out for help. She engaged with law enforcement. She filed charges. She got protection orders. She did everything she was supposed to do. And still, on a Monday night in late November, her life was taken by violence in her own home. Here's what we need to understand. Amanda Sheree Jones is not an isolated case. Her story plays out across this country every single day. According to national statistics, an average of 3 women are killed by intimate partners in the United States every single day. 3 women. Every day. And those are just the deaths. Countless others are living in fear right now, trapped in relationships they're trying to escape, reaching out for help from systems that too often fall short. Daniel Smith, director of the Indy Champions with the Indy Public Safety Foundation, Amanda's cousin Dania said something that captures the impossible position so many people find themselves in. You can't let nobody else love you more than you love yourself. And I wish Amanda would have loved herself just a little bit more to walk away sooner. But here's the thing. Leaving isn't that simple. Leaving is often when domestic violence becomes lethal. The most dangerous time for a victim is when they try to leave. And Amanda was trying. She'd filed charges. She'd gotten protection orders. She was engaging with the system. The question isn't, why didn't Amanda do more? The question is, why didn't the system do more for Amanda? When protection orders are violated and there are no real consequences, what does that tell the person who's being threatened? It tells them the system can't actually protect them. When charges get dismissed, when police have been to an address 9, 10, 15 times and tragedy still occurs, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing wrong? How can we do better? Because Amanda reached out. She told police directly, "You're not going to do something until someone is dead." She saw her own death coming, and she tried to prevent it. But the system failed her. This case is still open. There are no arrests yet. Somewhere out there, someone knows what happened in that apartment. Someone knows who pulled the trigger. Someone knows the truth. And that person needs to come forward because Amanda's daughter deserves justice. Her family deserves answers. And we as a society need to ensure that her death wasn't in vain.